And we're back. It's day 3 for me. I think it's video 4 for you if you're keeping track. And we have finished the blue in our last video. So what we're going to do now is we're going to work on the little grey accent. And if you can see over on the left here, this is the sort of turrets for the Baneblade, the 4 turrets at the back. We've got the weapon mounts for the Scorpiusi. Is it Scorpiuses or Scorpiusi? It must be Scorpiuses, right? Yeah. So the Scorpiuses, the weapon options and fists for the Leviathan Dreads, and also the 2, 4, 6, 8, 8 sponsored mounts from the 3 Predators and the Kratos. We're going to be doing those in a grey tone. I normally do them with brush, but I figured, I've got the airbrush out. We may as well add that on, and then what we'll do at the end of the video, we'll let them dry and we'll put the tanks and the grey together. We're going to give everything a very solid varnish to protect that layer of airbrush that I am happy with. So, and it's going to be a gloss varnish. We'll come back to that halfway through and we'll sort of run over why that is the case. So we've got our colours in front of us. I was going to do rubber black, don't think I'm going to need that. I'm not sure why I've got the black down because it's all undercoated. So I think we're just going to run with some greys. We've got Vallejo dark grey, Vallejo neutral grey and sky grey, which is my highlight colour. I've also got a black ink in case I overdo it. I need to tone it down a little bit, I think. Don't really know if I'm absolutely honest. I've not used grey through the airbrush before, but we're going to start with the dark grey, I think. Yeah, we're going to start with the dark grey, get everything set up again, and then we're going to give them all a bit of a blast. I might leave a bit of the blacker shade, not too sure at this stage, but we'll just have a quick run over what we've got, just to refresh. Compressor on the end there, we've got airbrush flow improver and cleaner, thinner there, we've got our little stand with the airbrush. This is actually a knife that I use for like the magnets, all my irons and magnets, so it's easy to hold with the knife. Got paints there, the turrets, and then we've got wet wipe, a paper towel and rubber glove for my hands, and then obviously the other paints and stuff in the corner. So I've got a nice little setup here. What I will add is that the reason I'm doing this now and in one big flow is that I literally have to take my house apart to set this up. This is my kitchen. I've taken all the stuff off the tabletops and put cardboard up, and it all has to go back to normal before I go back to work next week. So yeah, it's a bit of a big session for me. If you've got a lovely space for your airbrush, good. I am jealous. Normally what I do is I go outside and do it on the table outside, so it's not as much of a mess, but with it being winter and a bit cold, that's the reason we're at it now. So let me get the grey set up and we'll be back with you. So what I thought I'd do is come back to sort of how I mix the paint, and I'm going to be honest, it's pretty ghetto. I'm not doing any of this 1 drop of that, 5 drops of that, 3 drops of that rubbish, because quite frankly it just doesn't work for me. I'll just go, got the paint, stuff it in there, what you need, maybe that much. Alright, so we've got some paint in there. What I've been doing is putting the absolute tiniest bit of thinner in, just a tiny bit, like that, there we go, and then flow improver, and probably a bit more than there is paint, and then give it a stir and see what we've got. Let's have a look. So we actually think that might be a bit light. Oh, where are we? There we are. So I'm actually going to put a drop of black in it, I think. But yeah, that's pretty much how I mix. If I'm absolutely honest, I can't do this drop stuff. It looks about right. If you get this and just paint it on the edge, you'll see it kind of runs nicely. Say the trick with the flow improver, there's a big change. So I'm going to knock a drop of black in there because it is going to be enough to do everything. And I just want it to be quite dark for the first coat. So I'm going to nip a tiny bit of rubber black in there, I think, actually, because it's a slightly greyer colour. And we're going to give all these a blast. out the back door, and then we'll be back with you. But yeah, mixing paint for me, I just can't do it drop by drop. I just splat it in there and see what it looks like. Usually it's about what, 50-50, no, 40 paint, 50 flow improver and 10 thinner. It's been working for me for the last day or two, so I'm just going to continue that. But yeah, just a quick one, mixing paint, I just whack it in. It was quite a dark grey when I put that touch of black in, so we're going to let that dry, and then we're going to mix up some neutral grey and give it a sort of zenithal, not quite a zenithal, but we're going to highlight the guns and the sponsor mounts a little bit. I'm not looking for as much of an effect as I did with the blue because they're much smaller parts, but I just figured while I've got the airbrush out, we'll get that done. So yeah, we're going to go with the dark grey, then the mid grey, and then put the tiniest bit of light grey on top and hope we don't have to knock it back. Put the grey on. It's a little bit lighter than I'd like, so what I think I'm going to do is I am going to put the lighter highlight on the very edges, and I'm going to be very careful with it. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to mix the grey with some sky grey, because I think the sky grey is going to be a bit light for me on this one. So there's the greys. See, there's not a great deal of contrast on these, but that's okay. They're only like the little sort of gun turrets and stuff, and I am going to edge highlight everything, which will really sort of make it pop. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mix a mid grey with that sky, what is it, sky grey. We're going to give the very edges a touch with it, and then we're going to let it dry and see what it's like. And if it's a little bit bright, I'm going to knock it back with a very diluted black wash, I think, a black ink rather. So yeah, there we go. The grey's going along. All right, so similar sort of style to the blue. I want it to match up. Here's the Scorpius weapon options. So I've put that sort of mid grey to the whitish grey mix on as the highlight, and I'm pretty happy with that. It might be a bit bright in places if I'm absolutely honest. Let's have a look at these sponsor mounts. So it might be a little bit bright, so I might need to ink it down, but otherwise I'm pretty happy. I am going to be obviously edge highlighting it when I get the brushes out, so that'll lighten it up. So I think I'm going to let it dry and then give it a perfume spray, as I call it, with the black ink, just to bring all that back together. I was almost tempted to put a blue ink on it, but I like the grey, so we're going to stick with the black ink, I think. Let's see how it dries, and we'll come back to it in, well, probably a couple of hours for me, but probably a minute for you. All right, so grey is a bit light for me, so I'm going to knock it back with a black ink sort of cover, if you like, and it should just bring the colours together. Oh, it's not quite dry. I haven't got any time. I'm going to do it. All right, so I'm going to give all of these a little knockback with black ink, and then when I think we're done, we'll be back within a sec to see how that turns out. So a very light coat with the black ink, and yeah, that's brought it together nicely. Look at one of the turrets. Whoop. It's just toned it down, right? It's just toned it down. It's brought the colours together. Very nice. The main turret. Again, now we've got the grey we want, and we've got the highlight. Yeah, lovely. So let's get one of the sponsor mounts. Can we get that in focus? There we go. So it's just toned them down. It's brought the colours together. It was a little bit pale before. I think that's the way to go, isn't it? To do all your sort of up to bright, sort of really bright highlight, knock it all back with a very gentle layer of ink, and it just brings the colours together and gives a really nice sort of finish. Let's just have another look at one of these, and yeah, that's really nice. All right, so that's the grey done. So effectively for me, that is all the airbrush work with the colours done on all these tanks. I'm going to give them a quick varnish with a mid gloss, but we're not going to put that on here because there's no need. It's literally just a gloss varnish. It's sort of gloss varnish that is watered down with thinner. So I'm going to do 50-50, maybe a bit more thinner than that. And I'm going to give them all a good coat just to protect it, because airbrush work comes off so easily. But thank you for keeping up with the videos there. Obviously that's video 4. There's not going to be another one for a few days. I've got to do some work, unfortunately. But then I'll be back sort of New Year for the 5th airbrush video in this particular series. And now that I've picked up some skills, I feel a bit more confident doing it. And I'm going to repaint my Warhound. So thank you for keeping up. Any questions, ask below. Hints and tips, please send them my way. I'm very happy with how everything's turned out. Here's the grey just again, and these are going to be my accents for the tanks. So that's me for the colours. I'm going to let these dry. I'm going to put them all together, the tanks back together with the weapons on, and I'll just add that to the end of here and just show you everything finished and dry basically. But I'm going to do that in the morning because it's getting a little bit dark. Peace out and enjoy. This is Stu from Shade of Heresy, I guess, signing off for the big tank project. Oh, thank God. Right, need to clean my house up. Have a good New Year. Happy New Year, everyone. All right, so as promised, a quick look at the finished product. We've got some Predator, or a Predator. The Scorpius, that I keep calling Whirlwinds throughout the videos. The other Scorpius, we've got the Kratos. Put some of the weapons on and the turrets back on so you can see how we're looking. We've got the Leviathan Dreadnoughts. This is the melee guy. This is the weapon guy. Obviously we've got other options on all these. Another Predator. Another Predator. And the big old Baneblade. Yeah, I think they look really nice. They pop quite nicely. While I was at it, I stuck some coats down on these guys. These are my 10 heavy plasmas and my 10 recon guys. So there we go. Big squad of tanks, couple of Leviathan Dreads done. And I think they've come out really nicely. If you've been following the videos, I've given step by step on what I've done to get here. There we go. We march from a crag. We airbrush from a crag. Job done. Enjoy.